Hey friends, welcome back to some social studies. In our last lesson, we started talking about folk tales. And remember, a folk tale is a story that was made up a long time ago and people passed it down to other people. And then eventually somebody wrote it down so that we could share them today. So let's see. We also know that folk tales are not true. They weren't real. They're fiction. Okay. So we are going to talk today about a story, and it's called The Crowded Noisy House. But in our story today, there is a man, and they call him a rabbi. And a rabbi is a teacher or a person that is teaches like the Jewish religion. Okay, so in today's lesson, there's also some phrases that the rabbi uses, and Jewish people have used phrases called Yiddish, okay? And Yiddish is kind of like a language they used a long time ago. They still use some of the words and phrases from it, but they don't still speak completely, Yiddish and stuff. So I'm going to talk to you today about two of these phrases. One is called oy vey, and I actually say this one quite often, and it means like, oh, whoa, or woe is me. So it's like, how terrible, okay? And the other one, and I'm going to try to say this correctly, and if I mess it up, I'll try, okay? Kvetches, and it means to complain or whine, okay? So today we're going to listen to The Crowded Noisy House, and I want you to make a prediction about what you think is going to happen in this story. So think about it, right? I'm going to share my screen while you're thinking. What do you think is going to happen in our story, The Crowded Noisy House? What could be happening today? All right, so listen carefully. Let's see if your predictions come true. Are you ready? Here we go. So this man right here, this would be the one that they call the rabbi, okay? Once there was a poor Jewish man. So poor means they don't have a lot of money, not the best luck. The poor Jewish man went to speak to his rabbi. Remember, this is the rabbi. He's the leader or the teacher of the Jewish religion, okay? Rabbi, the man said, you must help me. My life is terrible. I live with my wife, our 5 children, and my mother-in-law. There's only one room for the 8 of us. The children, they cry and fight. My wife, she screams a lot. My mother-in-law, she kvetches about everything. Means she complains or whines. It is crowded and noisy and horrible, I tell you. Honestly, Rabbi, I don't think things could be any worse. The rabbi rubbed his chin as he pondered, so he thought about it. He thought about the man's situation. My son, he said, if you will promise to do as I tell you, your life will get better. Will you promise? Yes, yes, said the man, I promise. What advice do you think the rabbi is going to give him? Reading to find out. Tell me, said the rabbi, do you own any animals? Yes, said the man, I have a goat. Good, said the rabbi. Go home and take the goat into your house. Let it eat and sleep with you for a few days. Oh boy, this doesn't sound good. The man was stunned, shocked. Take the goat into the house? Rabbi's advice sounded like a crazy idea. But everyone knew that the rabbi was a wise man, and so the poor man agreed to do what he said. He went home and led the goat into his house. So, what do you think's going to happen once he gets this goat in the house? I don't know. That goat doesn't look very happy. Let's keep reading. 2 days later, the man went back to the rabbi. Oy vey, he said. I did as you said. I brought my goat into the house, but things are worse than before. The children, they cry and fight. My wife, she screams a lot. My mother-in-law, she kvetches about everything. The goat, she butts us with her head and knocks the dishes off the shelf. Help me, Rabbi. I don't think it could be any worse. Rabbi sat quietly for a moment. Then he asked the man, do you have any other animals? Yes, said the man. I have a cow. Oh, what do you think the rabbi's about to tell him now? Oh boy. Good, said the rabbi. Go home and take the cow into your house. Let it eat and sleep with you for a few days. You think that's good advice? You think that man's going to follow his advice? I don't know. Let's keep seeing, or let's keep reading. Again, the man did what he was told. He went home and led the cow into his house. 2 days later, the man went back to see the rabbi. Okay, here's the cow. There's the goat. Look at all this mess. Oh my goodness. Cow's eating it. Oh. Oy vey, he moaned. I did as you said. I brought the cow into the house, and things are even worse than before. But why do you think the man keeps following the rabbi's advice? I don't know. Let's keep reading. The children, they cry. My wife, she screams a lot. My mother-in-law, she kvetches about everything. The goat, she butts us with her head and knocks the dishes off the shelf. The cow, she eats our clothing. The house is like a barn. We can't sleep for all the bleating and mooing. Help me, Rabbi. I don't think it could be any worse. Rabbi was silent for a long time. Do you think he's going to give him the same advice, or do you think he's going to give him something different? Then he asked, do you have any other animals? Well, said the man, pausing, I have a goose. Perfect, said the rabbi. Go home and take the goose into your house. Let it eat and sleep with you. Do you think this rabbi is really that wise? Seems to me like he's just making everything worse. Let's keep reading. 2 days later, the man went back to the rabbi. Okay, so here's the goose, here's the cow, and here's the goat. Oy vey, he groaned. Things are worse than ever. The children, they cry and fight. My wife, she screams a lot. My mother-in-law, she kvetches about everything. The goat, she butts us with her head and knocks the dishes off the shelf. The cow, she eats our clothing. The goose, he honks and poops on the floor. I tell you, Rabbi, it is wrong for a man to eat and sleep with animals. I don't think it could be any worse. My son, said the rabbi in a gentle voice, you are right. Go home and take the animals out of your house. You will find the answer. So now he's not telling them to put any more animals in the house. He's telling them to take the animals out of the house. Let's see. Is that the same house? Looks similar. The next day, the man came to the rabbi. What do you think he's going to tell the rabbi? Rabbi, he cried, his face beaming, you have made life sweet for me. Now that all the animals are outside, the house is so quiet, so roomy, and so clean. How wonderful. So, does the house actually seem bigger now that there's no animals in it? A little bit, yeah. Is it quieter? Definitely. All right, let's go over our questions for today. I'm going to stop sharing, maybe. There we go. All right. So, did your prediction come true? Maybe. All right, what problem is the man having at the beginning of the story? His house is too crowded. The children cry and fight. It's too noisy. Who do you go to for advice? Goes to the rabbi. What advice does the rabbi give the man? To bring the animals in his house. Does this solve the problem? No, why not? It just makes the house even noisier and more crowded. So what new advice did the rabbi give at the end? He told him, take those animals out of the house. So at the beginning of the story, the man thinks it's too crowded and noisy with just his family. So why does he now think it's roomy and nice and quiet? Because he took the animals out. So he had those animals in there, made it even worse. And then when he took them out, everything seemed a lot more quiet, didn't it? Okay, so sometimes a folk tale, let me try that again. This folk tale is sometimes titled, It Could Always Be Worse. Why do you think it would be called that? Because a rabbi was telling him to do things that made things worse, didn't it? So he could see how good his life really was. Do you think it's a good title for the folktale? I think it works. All right, what lesson do you think this story teaches us? Yeah, don't get upset when things are going bad because it could always be worse. All right. You have questions in Google Classroom. Go solve. I'm thinking math. Go answer the questions. If you don't remember it, you can always go back in the video, listen to it again, or I just went over every question. If you have any questions, you can email me, message me, get a hold of me, whatever you need to do. Okay, friends? I'll see you on our next lesson. Bye.